This is the umbilical going down to the belt. In that umbilical you've got your whole life. You've got your hot water, your power, your communications, your gas, everything. And the weight of the bell is hanging on the smaller wire there. I chose this particular dive because it was shallow, and the speech wouldn't be too bad. The deeper you go, the worse your voice gets with the Donald Duck effect, the helium effect. So if you went to like 150 metres, you wouldn't be able to understand each other. I mean, I've phoned home from 150 metres and my wife just laughs at me because she can't understand a word you're saying. This, you can hear, is quite clear. It's just a bit like sucking from the children's balloon.
So you want to stop it off the bottom again?
They've got your hat camera, your breathing, everything. So you have to know these guys really well, and they have to know you really well, what your capabilities are. All the fellas on these ships, their whole job really is to get two men at the end of an umbilical doing the job. So your chef has to make sure he doesn't have a fire. The guys on the bridge have to make sure you don't run aground. The engineers have to make sure that everything's tickety-boo, because you cannot help yourself when you're in there. You're in there for a month and you can't get out. If you're a deep, say 200 metres, it was going to take you 4 or 5 days to get to the surface. That's longer than it takes to get back from the dark side of the moon. So if you were in the space shuttle, you could be home in 2 days. If you're down here, it's going to take you 5. So whether you break your leg, lose a finger, get caught in entrapment, you have an explosion, you have to be able to stitch each other up. You have to be able to be quite good medics and look after each other, because you can't come out. This is inside the chamber, being filmed from the outside. You can't really get an idea of how small it is, or maybe you can. It's smaller than, I would say, most people's bathroom. You would have 6 people in there, so about the size of a garden shed. This one here, you've got 6 people living in this one, and a small dining area at the end. Sometimes there's 8, sometimes there's less, but they are tiny. And of course they're round, again like the space shuttle, because of the pressures involved. It's the strongest shape there is. Those portholes you can see in the background are about 4 inches thick, and that's your only view out on either side, and 2 at the end. That door, when it's shut, you then make your bed up, and that's you for your month, for your 28 days. You have to get on. If you don't get on, you don't do it for long. You can't choose who you're going to go in with. If you're an obnoxious character, then nobody will want to be in with you, so you won't be doing your job. He's trying to talk to the diver, and if you listen, I don't know if you can hear it well, but if you listen, he can't understand a word the guy's saying, and this is quite shallow.
Are you? Yeah, probably, yes. I didn't understand a word of that. I'll speak to you later, bye.
So we get dressed in here, then you go into the other chamber and then get ready to go through to the bell. This is the most dangerous point, because if that seal goes, where the bell is attached to the system, everybody in there dies. So you only have 3 in there at a time, or 1 team. There has been an occasion where that seal is broken and the door wasn't shut, and 4 men were killed, and 1 guy on the outside was killed.
Good morning.
This is the bell moving away from the system. So now you've got the chamber to the right with all the men not diving, still eating, drinking, sleeping. And the 3 guys on the bell going out to work. Now some of these systems you'll have 2 bells, where one will be in the water, you'll go down and take over from the other fellas. This ship, the water coming up through the moon pool here, and this was quite a calm day, so when it's really rough, it comes in board the ship. On the outside of the bell there you see the bottles, that's full of helium and oxygen. Also you'll have batteries, everything on the outside, and all sorts of emergency gas, so that if your bell was separated from the ship, you can still breathe for a period of time.
It's a nice bumpy ride down. It's not me in trying to hold the cameras.
You can't really get an idea of how small it is in there. It is tiny. This is with 3 men in, and I did actually have a fisheye lens on here to get any sort of idea of how small it was. Obviously this is the bell just leaving the ship.
Come
This is the diving helmet. You've got a camera up to the left and a hat light to the right. You reclaim all the helium because it's expensive. You don't just breathe it out into the water like you do air. It goes back up your umbilical into the bell and then back up to the ship and gets scrubbed and used again. Try and get an idea of the claustrophobia feeling. If you don't like it in the bell, when you put your head in here and then go out into zero visibility and under an oil rig and they're lowering down, say, a 50-ton load above you, you have to be quite sure of yourself.
Oops, check your diving too, Greg.
Everything's checked at least 3 or 4 times on these jobs. You'll hear me, I check every valve he has. The guy on the surface will check his gas at least 3 or 4 times. And everything has a backup, if not 2 then 3. So you've got emergency hot water, you've got an emergency lifting system, you've got emergency gas on the back. The bottle on your back is only for emergency. So if that load I was talking about was to come down and clamp your umbilical and you couldn't breathe, you could switch on your bailout and breathe from that, and possibly even cut your umbilical to go back to the bell. Because as I said before, you can't come to the surface. The only place you can go is back to the bell. That's your safety. A lot of people think it's just a lift to get you back from work, but it isn't. It's the only place you can go. Now, the pressure inside the bell now, if you understand, is exactly the same as the depth outside. A lot of people seem to have trouble to figure out why the water doesn't come rushing in, but the depth is the same. So if you're 100 metres deep, you have 100 metres of gas inside the bell and the water will stay there. Now, if you lower the bell, the water will come in, but then you can always blow in more gas to blow it back out. If you raise the bell, the gas will come out. This is now taken from the guy's hat camera. So this is what you would see if you were in the water. Again, that's from the inside of the bell. When the 2 divers are out, the bellman just sits in on his own. His job, which is me here,